What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here with your second stimulus check update. In this video, we're going to talk about the 4 executive presidential orders that the president just signed. We're going to go into more detail on those. We've had a lot of questions from you guys regarding a lot of the information in those presidential orders. So we're going to go over some more details of that. We're going to actually look at the actual wording of the bill, of the important parts, so you guys can get all the details you need to know. We're also going to talk about how the president said that there's going to be more stimulus coming and what that means. We're also going to talk about how some of these payments are going to be retroactive. I'm going to show you the wording in the exact bill that says that. So make sure you guys watch all the way to the end. But first, if you can, hit the subscribe button down below if you're new to the channel. This way you won't miss out on second stimulus check update videos. My wife and I spend hours every day doing all the research for you guys, so you guys can watch a quick, concise video and get all the information about the latest breaking news about stimulus checks, unemployment information, and everything regarding anything around that. Also, if you can, hit the like button for me down below. It really helps out our channel. Okay, so the president signed 4 executive presidential orders in the last 24 hours to help Americans and provide more stimulus to the people. The 4 presidential orders that he signed is a renewal of the eviction moratorium to keep struggling Americans in their homes. This will help up to 40 million Americans help not be evicted during this pandemic and will provide additional protections for up to 40 million Americans. Next is they're extending student loan relief throughout the end of the year. This executive order calls for the temporary pause of payments and the waiver of all interest on student loans held by the Department of Education until December 31st, 2020. This is also going to help many millions of Americans, as today more than 40 million Americans hold student loans and many struggle with repayment. This will make it so they don't need to repay anything to the end of the year and will be able to have that money to use for their family, and they won't have any interest added on at all. The third executive order that the president signed was a payroll tax holiday through the end of the year for Americans earning less than $100,000. Now, the White House said that this can provide an additional $1,200 in stimulus or a $1,200 paycheck raise for a lot of Americans throughout the end of the year. Basically, it'll be an additional $1,200 in your check. The White House said that this will provide an increase in your paycheck and that many Americans will receive up to $1,200 in additional stimulus through this program, and that this covers up to 140 million Americans who are currently working. We're going to go over some of the details of that in the next video, so make sure you guys are subscribed. This will apply to pretty much all working Americans. And the fourth order he signed was an extension of the federal unemployment benefits at a reduced rate of $400 per week. So between all these programs, we have 140 million Americans getting the payroll tax increase. We have up to 40 million Americans with the eviction moratoriums being helped. And then we have millions more Americans being helped with the student loans. And then we also have up to 30 million people going to be helped with the unemployment benefits. The stimulus check, the $1,200 stimulus check, has not been agreed upon yet. And as you're going to see in this next bill, this next details we go over, that the president stepped in to do this as a temporary measure to get this stuff passed, at least what he could with his authority, and pass what he could. We're also going to talk about the loophole on how they're paying and how they're getting the money for the unemployment stimulus. I had a lot of comments from you guys saying that he doesn't have the authority to spend this type of money. Well, he already passed this order, and we're going to talk about the loophole on how they're spending this money for the unemployment. So when Congress agrees on more, there will be more stimulus checks passed, including stimulus checks. The president also said he wants an income tax cut for lower and middle income Americans, and that will provide even more stimulus for many, many more millions of Americans. As soon as I get the details on that, I will update you guys. The president also mentioned a possible fairly significant capital gains tax reduction, and that he will report back shortly. I'll get you guys the information on that as soon as we get it. Now, let's talk about some more details of the unemployment extension, the $400 per week to the end of the year. We're going to talk about what the dates are when this actually ends, how much it is, how long it goes for, where the money's coming from, a lot of the details that you guys asked for about this. This is the actual bill, and we're going to go through the important parts of it. The bill itself's not that long, but I'm only going to cover the important parts. So notice that this is the memorandum on authorizing the Other Needs Assistance Program for major disaster declarations related to the virus disease of 2019. Now notice this is issued on August 8th, 2020. I think they put 2019 here because that is when the virus originated. This is from August 8th, 2020. It says, by the authority vested in me as the President by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, including the Robert Stafford Disaster Relief Emergency Assistance Act, and in light of Proclamation 9994 of March 13, 2020, declaring a national emergency concerning the novel virus disease outbreak, which declared a national emergency by reason of the threat posed by this outbreak of this virus. It is hereby ordered as follows. This is important because of the national emergency that was declared because of this virus. The president is able to pass huge presidential executive orders like this. Where the money's coming from is also very interesting. It says protective measures enacted by states and localities across the country to prevent the loss of life from the virus have resulted in millions of Americans becoming unemployed and in need of assistance. My administration has recognized the acute financial distress affecting families across the country and has worked to quickly provide billions of dollars in relief to supplement the unemployment benefits and help businesses keep their workers employed. In addition to zeroing the federal student loan interest and delaying tax day, in total, nearly $3 trillion has been appropriated for emergency funding regarding this virus. He basically says here that because the Democrats and the Republicans couldn't come to an agreement, that he's basically going to step in and he is going to take action to help financial security to Americans. Now we're going to see where the money is going to start to come from. The Virus Aid Relief Fund and the Economic Securities Act, the CARES Act, which is the first stimulus package, included $150 billion appropriated directly to state, territorial, and some local governments through the CRF fund to cover costs incurred during an emergency. As of the latest report, there's more than $80 billion of this CRF fund dollars that remain available to supplement the billions of dollars states have received in other federal assistance. And in addition, the Department of Homeland Security Disaster Relief Fund, the DRF fund, has more than $70 billion in emergency assistance funding available. This is where the money is going to come from. This money has already been passed and already been appropriated for disaster relief. He says, I am hereby directing FEMA to assist in providing benefits from the DRF, the Disaster Relief Fund, and in calling upon the states to use their CRF allocation, the Virus Relief Fund, to bring continued financial relief to Americans who are suffering due to unemployment. So as you can see here, there's $80 billion still available remaining to the states to use this money if they need. And there's also $70 billion in the DRF fund for the federal government to use. This money has already been passed and it's already been allocated to a disaster relief fund, which is exactly what this is. All right, so we skipped a couple paragraphs that was just talking, and it says here to provide financial assistance for those in need who have lost unemployment. I am directing up to $44 billion from the DRF at the statutory mandated 75% federal cost share be made available for lost wages to eligible claimants to supplement state expenditures in providing these payments. That's 75% we're going to get to here in a minute. At least $25 billion of the total DRF balances will be set aside to support ongoing disaster response and recovery efforts and potential major costs. I am calling on states to use the amounts allocated to them out of the CRF and other state funding to provide temporary enhanced financial support to those who have lost their jobs. To ensure that those affected by a loss in wages continue to receive supplemental benefits for weeks of unemployment ending no later than December 27th, 2020. That date's important because we're going to see another date here in a second. States should also identify funds to be spent without a federal match should the total DRF balance deplete to $25 billion. In exercising this authority, the Secretary acting through FEMA shall approve a lost wages assistance program that authorizes the governor to provide a $400 payment per week, which shall reflect a $300 federal contribution, and to eligible claimants from the week of unemployment ending August 1st, 2020. Now, if you look at that, that means, or that's stating that this should go and be retroactive for this unemployment boost back to the week ending August 1st, 2020. So when this goes into effect, unemployment people should receive a bigger payment, the first check that should be retroactive, and will receive a couple weeks of retroactive pay. Now, here's an interesting part. For the purposes of this memorandum, the term eligible claimants, who's eligible, means claimants who receive for the week lost wages is at least $100 per week of any of the following benefits. All these different programs here below, which basically kind of means that anybody who's receiving unemployment of at least $100 per week would receive the additional federal boost money, unless they change the wording of this. Now, we've scrolled down a little bit and it says the Lost Wages Assistance Program described in Section 4 of this memorandum shall be available for eligible claimants until the balance of the DRF fund reaches $25 billion or for weeks of unemployment ending no later than December 6th of 2020, whichever occurs first, at which time the Lost Wages Assistance Program shall terminate. Now notice it says December 6th here, and before it said December 27th. Also notice that it says that it will go until the balance of the DRF fund reaches $25 billion, which means that that money will probably not last to the end of the year. But here's probably the more important part. It says the Lost Wages Assistance Program shall terminate upon enactment of legislation providing, due to the virus, supplemental federal unemployment compensation or similar compensation for unemployed or underemployed individuals. So there's a lot of information there. What this last part means is that it looks like they're saying it's just a temporary order to get us through until we get another legislation passed. Now, this could go till December or until they run out of money, but it sounds like they're expecting to have another stimulus package passed before that time comes. And what that would mean is that we know the Democrats and the Republicans both want to extend unemployment. This will extend it in the short term and get people money now to get by. And then if we can get Congress to agree, they can extend it longer or at a different amount. They could pass stimulus checks to everybody, or to at least those that are eligible for the $1,200 that both the Democrats and the Republicans want, along with other stimulus that they need, such as money for schools, money for cities, and all the other stuff in those packages, possibly hazard pay for essential workers. So if they can get Congress to agree, this presidential executive order will go away, and what they agree on will then overtake this order and be the new law. You guys can let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed because we're going to have lots of information coming out almost every single day regarding this and what new stimulus they want to pass in the future, along with what President Trump said about he wants more stimulus packages to be passed here shortly, including that income tax cut and possibly a check. So make sure you guys are subscribed and make sure you've hit the like button for me down below. And this top video is my most recent stimulus check video. You can watch that next. And over here is a video that teaches you how to start a business selling products on Amazon. I have students that have replaced their entire 9-to-5 income by selling one product, and I teach people how to do that. So you can watch those videos next. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.